Hey guys, today I'm going to do a little more of a simple diorama that's still based on a photo I took years ago. I like this photo a lot, not because it was really interesting architecture or cool items, but the textures and the paint just really stuck out to me as cool and I wanted to recreate it. So I've started off with my paint peeling technique to get the first wall going. If you want to see a little more of how I do this technique, check out my previous video of the book nook as I go into more detail there. Really all I'm doing different with this one is I'm doing it twice. So I started with a base color of that wood behind it, then the liquid latex and the first layer of paint, and then I did another layer of liquid latex and then a brighter, fresher paint to give me multiple layers of the peeling paint. And now I just primed the door that I 3D printed and I'm moving on to these pieces that are going to be towards the front of the diorama. This door is the central focus point for the diorama, so I really want to make it nice and rusty and full of texture. To give it that extra texture, for the first couple layers of paint and pigments, I'm mixing in a little bit of fine sand to give it that extra grit. Then I'm adding dry pigments, wet pigments, different layers of paint so that it really builds up in different colors. This is all the bottom layer. We're going to use the liquid latex technique again, as well as another layer of paint on top. Then in the areas that I peel off, it will reveal the nice rusty, gritty texture underneath. For the bottom of the door and the walls, it seemed like there was maybe an old baseboard of some type. I'm just using black pigment powder to simulate that, but in a way that looked like it had been peeling off and deteriorating. Now to start on the wall where the door is. This is a regular piece of foam board, and I peeled the one side of paper off, and now I'm just scoring lines into it with a pencil to make it look like cinder blocks or brick. Since these walls were painted, I'm putting this modeling paste in to act as grout to fill in a little bit of those grooves, and then I'm going to paint over the whole thing. This is going to be the wall on the left, and it also has a door. I'm going to make it look like it's just barely open. And again, the texture in this piece is really important to me, so I'm doing that paint peeling effect a couple more times on this wall. So now I'm just taking a brown wash with the sponge to just darken some areas a little bit. And then I move on to painting the brick wall. Here's that left side door, and I'm just giving it a prime coat. Back to the main door, I glued a piece of glass on for the window, and then I'm using the airbrush to spray some matte varnish to make it a little foggy. Then I'm using some ground up pastels and pigment powders to dirty it up, and also flicking some paint off with the paintbrush. This just allows me to have a nice splatter pattern. Now I'm just cutting the spot where the door is going to be. And then glue the foam and the door in place. Since this door won't be seen as much, I'm not going to go through as heavy of a texturing technique, so I'm just using my liquid latex and the paint color. This side door needed a door frame, so I'm just cutting out some pieces of mat board for it. And then I'm going to glue this door in place. So now I'm just taking some modeling paste that's been mixed with the yellow paint and using it to fill in some of the gaps. And then I'm also taking some black pigment powder and flicking it off with a brush so it's random and splattery. I'm using this black pigment powder all over to really give the scene a dirty look. In the original photo, there was a painted design above the door on the wall, so I'm using masking tape to give me a solid rectangle, and then I'm painting the whole thing that first solid color blue. Then I cut out the shape for the circles that I'll need. I'm using this stencil to paint each color one on top of another. And then before the orange, I'm painting white first so the orange is more vibrant. I'm using a white-gray color of paint just to flick off the airbrush. And then I'm going to start gluing the walls onto the base. After priming it, I'm going to take my normal technique of tile grout, lay that down for the first layer of dust and dirt, and then move it around and smooth it out with a big makeup brush. And here's a little frame for the wall. Here I'm using more pigment powders and crushed pastels to just add different textures and colors to the floor. I knew we wouldn't see the ceiling very much, so I'm spray painting it this matte black color so it'll just stay in the darkness. For the sides and the front, I cut these pieces of matte board and I'm painting it that same matte black, and then I'm going to glue them in place. I made a lot of space on the right side because I knew I wanted to put some lights in there. So for the lights, I'm using something that I learned from Boylai Hobby Time. I'm not going to show you exactly how to do it, you'll have to go to his channel to see. I'm using these cool 3-volt LED filament bulbs. I've linked Boylai Hobby Time's YouTube channel in the description. Go check him out. He's a really awesome creator and he's done some awesome things with these LED filament bulbs. As always, thanks for watching, guys. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to see my next project. See you next time.